All right, we're live here for the second episode of On the Campaign Trail for the Voodoo Island Kickstarter campaign, and we have the second star here of the game, the awesome 3D designer Adler Romero. How's it going, bud? Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. How you guys doing?
Not too bad. Just enjoying the whole Kickstarter lifestyle again for the second time this year.
Second time?
Yeah, we did this Gone Viking Kickstarter a couple months ago, and so we're trying two back-to-back this time and seeing how that goes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I remember reading Gone Viking, and it looked pretty fun. I want to play it, so maybe you can send me a copy.
Sure, sure. So I guess first of all, again, thanks for taking the time out of your schedule because it's really cool to sort of have the people involved with the game itself and sort of put a face to the people who are working on the art and stuff. And we had Francois, the game designer, on a couple of days ago. So so now it's a chance to sort of get to know you and sort of what you were about. So maybe just take a minute or two and introduce yourself to everybody.
All right. Well, my name is Adler Romero, as all of you can see. I am a 3D artist, digital sculptor. I recently got into digital sculpting for miniatures and figures probably about a year ago. I went to school for game design, so I mean it's not too far of a difference. It's still using the skills I learned in school and just applying it in a different way, and it's still for games, so it's always a plus. I've always been into games since I was like 3. So since I can remember anything. I mean, my first game that I remember playing would have to be Kung Fu on the NES.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So how did you decide to sort of get into doing 3D artwork and sculpting?
Originally, when I went to school, I was doing environment. But even before that, I thought I wanted to be a programmer, and little did I know, programming wasn't my thing. I mean, you got to have a different mindset for that, and my mind's on the artistic side of things and whatnot. But I wanted to stay away from characters and wanted to focus on the environment stuff. And then finally, I took a class. For character art, and my teacher told me I knew how to lay out the characters properly. It wasn't my best character, and nobody's first character is the best character, but he gave me a couple compliments that made me think, well, maybe I should try the character thing. And then after I graduated, I had a job at an architectural firm doing visualization, and it was just boring out of my mind. Didn't want to do it, didn't like being there. And so when hours started to slow down, I stepped out and started freelancing. And then I couldn't find any work in the game industry. I mean, as far as video games, my portfolio wasn't there. So I started freelancing on a website, freelancers.com. I don't know if anybody's heard of that, but somebody contacted, or actually applied for a job to do alien bugs as my first miniatures job. So yeah, and that's when it got me hooked to do more digital sculpting for things that are going to be 3D printed.
So I kind of, before we even started, was asking you the difference between, what you sort of trained for in school, which was, live action 3D stuff versus this sort of more static stuff that we asked you to build. Would you say you have any preference either way?
Preference as in how to go about it, or
just which one you like doing better, I guess. Are you starting to really enjoy designing pieces for games? Because we also talked about you doing some other projects for some people around the world, and it sounds like you're sort of really getting into designing miniatures and game pieces and stuff.
Yeah, no, I actually prefer the miniature side of things because it's easier and it's harder, because when you're going into games, you have to have the right typology, you have to make a low poly mesh, and you have your high poly mesh, and the easy part in the tabletop games is you just have your high poly mesh, and you decimate it, and you send it to the client, and it's ready to print. Well, basically, in the simplest ways of thinking. But the hard thing about it is knowing when to separate pieces, like a hand or an arm or a base for a figure, and keeping, not hoping there's no holes so that the print doesn't fail, and making sure there's a right thickness to things. So I mean, there's a pro and con for both sides, digital or tabletop, either way. But I prefer tabletop, and especially it's teaching me how to model not just for tabletop games, but for a figure line as well, which I hope to have my own figure line one day. Some of my own creations, original creations.
That's cool. So do you? I guess one of the a lot of the people that might want to watch this and listen to what you have to say might be interested in a few things, like how important is knowing the final material when you start designing the 3D artwork itself.
Final material being.
Well, you can do maybe poly resin material or 3D printing or plastic injection, that type of thing.
I'm still learning about a lot of that, so I couldn't say too much towards that. But knowing the type of printer you're going into, knowing its limits, knowing the resolution, it gives you, how high of detail you can get, how thick you can make the pieces or thin, and like I said, to the build size, will I have to separate certain parts of the body? Is it too big, or is it, would it print better if it was separated? So
right.
That's the main concerns that I've come on to recently. I mean, like I said, I'm still learning the whole tabletop modeling aspect of it, but it's a pretty easy learning curve.
Now, one of the things that I wanted to mention that we really liked, why we really liked working with you is because you made the process so simple for us. Like, we were able to provide you with simple photographs and drawings and things like that, which you were really able to extrude into a 3D character. So, would you recommend that process? Like, I mean, we were pretty new at it too. We've never done 3D pawns for games before, so we didn't exactly know what we were getting ourselves into either, and and you did a good job of sort of helping us out completely. But maybe what advice would you give other publishers or game designers in terms of what types of materials they can prepare in advance for you?
I would say simple concepts, or like you gave me references, and letting me know like how much freedom I have. Because you giving your artists freedom to design the way they need to design will help. I mean, I like doing that because I like putting my own little twist on things. But I know there's some clients where it has to be a certain way, has to be this design, and cannot budge, and you have to make that clear from the get-go. So communication's key, like a big part of it, especially dealing with people around the world. I mean, Josh, you're from Canada, and I'm out here in Southern California, so communication between us had to pretty much be all the time.
You had to throw that sunny part in, didn't you?
Yeah.
You know what kind of winter we've had this year? It's brutal.
I do not envy you.
Yeah, I agree. It's and I think we were almost talking on a daily or sometimes 2 times a day basis when you were in the middle of designing our figures, right?
Yeah, in the beginning, but I think after the first two figures that I did for you, you felt a little more comfortable. Like, okay, I can trust them and back off a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I think going into a new client freelance, relationship, communication's key in the beginning. But honestly, it could be from a concept, reference images. Those would be the best things, and then making sure you're telling your employee or freelancer that what's their limits to their creative freedom.
Right. That sounds similar with kind of any artistic process, right? Like,
Yeah.
you definitely want to find an artist that complements the style that you're looking for, of course, but giving them some freedom is kind of why you're hiring an artist, right?
Yeah. Especially, yeah, it's when you can't get that image out of your head, and you can't put it in 3D space or on a paper. That's where the artist comes in.
Right. I love the term 3D sculptor. I think that's perfect, right? I mean, it's totally just like 21st century kind of terminology or something. I don't know. It's awesome. And with all the new
I
3D
mean,
printing that's happening, it's really cool.
yeah. I mean, I wish I took actual sculpting classes when I was in school, but I mean, I still have more time for that. I mean, you're never too old to learn a new trade. I mean, even if it's similar, I feel like if I did take that, it's going to make me stronger as a sculptor. Um, I'll understand my figures more, and it'll be fun. I mean, it's art, and that's what I love to do. Ever since I was little, I always wanted to be doing something artistic. So.
So let's maybe go back to Voodoo Island for just a second here, and talk about the figurines that you designed for us. So you designed three figurines for us, and maybe talk a little bit about what you enjoyed about making those figurines, or what challenges you folks faced, I should say, and stuff like that.
All right. Is there a specific one you wanted me to start off with, or?
That's up to you. Like, I guess why don't we start off with the Explorer, because that was the first one you designed for us, didn't you? Or did you design the zombie first?
It was the zombie first.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that one, I really wanted to just go Walking Dead, and then you told me you're like, whoa, we need a zombie that's like traditional zombie voodoo style, which a lot of people kind of don't do anymore. I mean, that's where zombies actually came from. It's not just some rotted corpse that's walking around. It's somebody who's entranced by a spell. And I had actually had an interesting time with them because I didn't know exactly what it was you guys were aiming for, but as we went forward and you gave me the communication we needed, it just kind of came together. It was pretty simple, pretty easy. Um, and my sculpting then, I mean, I'm looking at these characters now, and I kind of want to go back into them and edit. And I mean, just like with anybody, any art, you see something you did in the past, and you're like, I can change that. I can make that better. But I'm happy with how they came out. I really enjoyed doing the zombie, and it was a good start for us, I feel.
Yeah, I think so too. And plus, the Explorer is a little more classical figurine adventure style. So the zombie, and especially the idea that it wasn't originally what you had thought, and that was kind of a good way for us to start communicating about production, right? It was pretty cool, I thought.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think I was emailing you probably, yeah, like you said, twice a day.
Yeah.
So for at least 3-4 days until we actually got something where it was a-okay.
So the first part of that, if I remember correctly, was a lot of movement-oriented or stance-oriented kind of decisions that you made us make. Like, how do we like how it's standing? Do we like the sort of movement impression that you're trying to achieve? Is that pretty standard in the development process?
At least for me it is. I honestly couldn't speak for anybody else. I actually went with that way because my ZBrush, it kind of broke on me. My transpose master stopped working for a client previously, and I had to redo the figure twice before I even sent it in, which was a pain in the ass. So I decided to start doing asymmetrical sculpting, which actually has probably strengthened my sculpting. So when I am able to use symmetry, I'm a lot faster now, and it's helped me just stay within, make sure there's no anatomy errors going on. So I'm paying attention instead of just relying on the program. I'm relying more on myself and what I know. So that's kind of how I went about it.
So then we move on to the next figure we made, which was the Explorer. And what did you like about doing that? Was that fun like the zombie, or was that more kind of like, oh, another Explorer type figure?
No, he was actually fun. I liked when you said, you know, give me something Nathan Drake and Indiana Jones. So that's why I gave him that little smirk, like he's got a little attitude to him.
Yeah, I
Uh,
love that. Yeah.
yeah, and he was fun to do. And he's simple, and it wasn't, you know, I've done plenty of shirts and pants now, and it was just fun. It was just I like the whole attitude about him. That was my favorite part.
Cool. And of course, the headline of the event, I guess, is this awesome zombie master that you made, which is, everyone is just dying how cool he is.
Well, I'm glad people like it. Like he was the one that I had probably the most fun with. The reference images you guys gave me was like what I needed. The other ones, I had to go looking for images and references for them. So I think that's what made it a little bit challenging with the other ones to get correctly the first time. But with the images you guys gave me, it was just everything I could imagine to sculpt. So, and I had a lot of fun. Like I said, we changed a couple things. Like before, I had a jug of alcohol or whatever, whatever.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then you guys had me change it to a voodoo doll, and I liked it a lot better. And I just loved.
Of course, the skull with the awesome matching top hat on his.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Well done.
Yeah. Thanks.
So that's cool, man. And just before we move on, I just wanted to say that it's been a great process working with you for this project, and we're looking forward to hopefully doing a lot more future projects, because it's just been a real pleasure, and you've been very easy to work with and produce amazing product. We both, the designer and I, agree that we made the right choice.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate it.
So before we go, because I know you're probably wanting to get back to sculpting.
I mean, we can go a little bit longer. I don't mind chatting or talking. I mean, how many people do we have viewing right now?
I don't know. Probably not too many, gonna be honest. I don't think there's very many, but what I'm hoping is we'll archive this for sure, so it'll be something that people can continuously reference if they want. And I think one of the reasons why it was really important for me to talk to you is there's a lot of game design communities that we're sort of tied in with, and especially some of the smaller publishers and independent designers, they have no idea what this process is like. So just opening their eyes to what it is from your end probably will make them design differently, and maybe help them in the long run in terms of how to find an artist to do what they need to do, and to how to prepare better to make the process really easy for you guys. So
yeah.
That's the purpose of this, I think. And so why don't we step forward a little bit to talk about your campaign, because you're running a campaign as well.
Yeah. I'm running a campaign on GoFundMe. It's another website like Kickstarter or Indiegogo. But with this one, they have a couple different categories on how you crowdfund. And I'm basically doing donation based. So there's no timing. I keep any of the money that goes to me. So that's a plus, but I do have to pay for the third-party company who helps collect the money for me, of course. So
that's pretty standard, yeah.
You get a little percentage out of that.
Yeah.
But what it's for is, I've been doing figures for you and other of my clients, and I'm kind of tired of having them have to go to a third party to print their figures. And I really want to start printing. The 3D printing world is getting bigger and better, and the technology is getting cheaper. So why don't I get into it? Basically, what I said.
It helps you make prototypes for people too, right?
Yeah, and I can send them a prototype, and I'm also going to be getting into molding if I get it too, because you don't want to waste the materials with the resin, having to print all these figures. Basically print your first prototype and then mold off of that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll give you I don't know if you have the link on the page right now, but
Yeah, we can put the link on the actual YouTube video when it, because this will be saved as a YouTube video, right? So
okay.
we'll put all the links that we possibly can there, and when we share it, we'll share your link for your GoFundMe site for sure.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and there's plenty of rewards on there. I mean, if you're just a hobby collector and you want your own figure custom made, there's pretty good rewards on there for anybody. If you want a custom bust that you might have an idea, some of these rates are cheaper than what I usually do. Um, but hey, it's for a good cause, so why not?
I think it's a great idea, and we've been doing the crowdfunding a few times, and it's one thing about raising money and everything, but also the flux capacity. When I started the company, it's all about building communities and stuff like that. So I think that's a cool thing too, where even through the Kickstarter, we're meeting so many different people with so many different cool ideas about how we can shape our games. So I'm sure you'll sort of find that too, or are you finding that already?
Um, Not too many people have commented on my page. I would like to get more feedback on what people think or what they might want to see. Um, but I mean, for all those who have donated so far, like I'm super appreciative of it, and I'm super grateful that any help I can get, because growing up I've always wanted to do something creative, and finally I'm starting to find my niche where I'm in love with what I do. Like I go to work, which is my house, and
I
and
notice you're not wearing a tie today. Is the boss? Is it dress down Fridays or something? Or-
yep, it's Casual Friday.
Okay.
Um, but I'm just happy that I get to do this. Like if I could show you my desk right now, I have it on my Instagram, but I have all my figures around me. I have all my artwork around me, from artists that I love, and it's just a big passion of mine, just to be able to work in a creative world and have the freedom to do what I do, and take it as like I'm playing. I'm not even working. It's basically I go and play every day. So, when you have that, you want to keep it and hold on to it as tight as you can.
Yeah, that's awesome. Anyway, I wish you the best of luck with that with the campaign, and we'll be sure to put all the links and share as much as we possibly can.
Sweet, thanks, man.
So anyway, I guess is there any other way people can get in touch with you that you want to know before we sort of wrap up here?
They can either hit me up on my Facebook at Adler David Romero. Just search me up, or there's my Instagram, which is Radler Romero, and then I have my Twitter, which is under. It should be under Designs Eagle 3D, or Eagle 3D Designs. I'm not sure. I'm still new to Twitter, so I'm still figuring it out. And then my website at eagle3d.carbonmade.com. They can contact me there, download my resume, see my work, or email me. So there's. Sorry, that's my dog.
That's okay, no problem. Cool. So we'll put all your Twitter links, your Facebook links, and everything like that up for everyone to see.
Yeah, I'll send them to you so we can have that up there.
Awesome. So thanks again, man. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and let everybody know about what you're up to. And this sounds like you got to go let your dog out, so we'll let you go. And thanks again.
Sweet, thanks, man. You have a good night.
Okay, you too.
All right, bye bye.